Welcome to a new video where today we will be testing the true powers of hackers in Minecraft. I will be diving into the mind of an absolute cheater by installing one of the most commonly used free hacked clients, Wurst. So I survived 100 days in hardcore Minecraft with a powerful software behind my back, but let's find out together how much of a difference it actually makes. Also, before we hop into the video, you know what I have to say. These videos take a ton of time to make and we're getting closer and closer to 10,000 subscribers. So please hit the subscribe button and make sure to drop a like if you enjoyed it. You have no idea how helpful it is to the channel, and if we hit 1K likes, I will upload 200 days of this world. With that over, let's hop straight into this, where we always do with day one. It's time for some basic resource collection, where it looks pretty normal right off the bat. The only hacks I turned on was Kill Aura along with Fast Break. It's honestly really interesting to see how these hacks interact with the game. The blocks would break after hitting them, even if I didn't break them completely. The next thing that I turned on was Timer, which allows me to run considerably faster as it speeds up the game around me. I kept this on while I ran around and let Kill Aura take down any animals nearby so it could collect some food. After not long, it was time to hop into a cave and start getting full iron to protect myself. I hopped into a basic surface cave where I mined a few pieces of iron and actually got a little close to dying to some skeletons before smelting my iron up. I crafted the pieces of armor I could before pushing further through the cave to get more and more iron. At this point, I realized that I just needed to get an iron pickaxe because there wasn't really any point making iron armor when I could easily get diamond armor. How, you ask? Well, isn't it obvious? It's time for some X-ray. This is going to be super easy now. All I need to do is strip mine a ton throughout the walls and get everything I need to fully get myself geared up. Also, now with the diamond pick, I'm really going to start to see the advantages of having fast break. It mines as if I have efficiency 3 already, so everything is going faster. It's now day 5. Yeah, full diamond on day 5. This is going by so quickly. At this pace, we'll kill the dragon before day 50. After collecting the easy full diamond and diamond tools, I grabbed some extra diamonds as I knew I'd need them and headed back up to the surface to look around some more, trying to find a place that was much more interesting to settle. On day 7, I finally found an area that I was content with, so I dropped down a chest, furnaces, and a crafting table, started smelting stuff up, and went for some farms as soon as I can. I needed a flat area, so the first thing I did was clear out the area on the other side of the river from me. I made a diamond hoe right off the bat because I'm built different. After collecting plenty of seeds, I started my tiny wheat farm. Bone mealed it to get some wheat for bringing moo-moos over. I built up a set of fences for the cows and led them into it, not after getting splashed directly in the face with a poison potion by a witch. What a rat. After finishing up the farms on day 10, it was time to start collecting plenty of oak logs and cobblestone to make my house. I started building on day 15, and one thing I will say about this video is I started recording this many months ago, over the summer actually, and then started working on other projects and never got around to finishing it until recently. So I'm building the exact same house that I always build, which I do apologize for, but don't worry, in coming videos, I'm going to try to be significantly more creative with my designs. Anyways, I blitzed through building it with the speed of 1,000 suns, finishing up around day 21. Normally this takes a ton longer, but when you have fast break and fast place and timer, it really speeds up your game. It's almost like it's in the name. Here's another thing I noticed about timer. It seems that this hack can be very screwy with the time in the world, as whenever I used it, I noticed the sun was a little odd, because I was going through the game and moving around faster than the actual world was. I'm pretty sure that meant the days were going by significantly faster, especially when I was using it more, although I really don't know. I haven't done much experimentation on it. Anyways, after finishing up the house, I knew that I needed to start getting some basic enchantments. So I dug straight down and looked for obsidian, where I mined enough for both a portal and an enchant table. Returning home, I crafted up the enchant table and enchanted everything, along with some books and looked for sharpness on my axe. I crafted up an anvil, combined what I could, before heading outside of the house just in time to see some angry visitors. I took down these pillagers, which secured my bad omen effect. This reminded me that I needed to get a village pretty badly, so I went and looked for a village, as I'd need plenty of them to get all of the high level enchantments and levels that I could ever need. On day 24, I found a village in a plains biome, where a raid immediately began. The first round was easy, as it wasn't anything special. Second, got plenty of axe boys, and this is where I started to realize how amazing the combination of Kill Aura and Timer were. I could just strafe around them so easily while not even clicking. The The third round, I encountered a Ravager, which actually got me pretty low on health really easily. Suppose my armor is only protection 1 mostly, and Ravagers have a pretty significant reach distance. The next wave was characterized by a few witches. This time, I didn't get poisoned, fortunately. And the final wave only had a Ravager, which I went for first. Also, it definitely had a Vindicator because I picked a totem off the ground. Although I didn't see the Vindicator, so either my kill aura got it without me realizing, or that Iron Golem was just putting in some work during the raid. After the raid, I looted the village and took the remaining 3 villagers back to the base. How, you might ask? Well, there's this really interesting hack called Boat Fly. You literally just fly in a boat. It's such a weird mod, and I have no idea why this specifically works, but hey, it makes it insanely easy to transport villagers, so I am not complaining. Normally, transporting them the distance I had to would take days on days, but it only took a day to go back and forth and bring all of them back. Once I had them all back to my base on day 26, it was time to start digging a hole to throw them in and get them breeding. I did the same design that Daniel and I did during 100 Days squads, where half of the dugout section is fenced off and meant for breeding, while the right side has pockets for trading villagers to be placed in. Over the course of the next many days, I slowly bred up plenty of villagers to throw into the trading system. I finished up everything villager related on day 32. I also made a level 30 enchant table with books I got from the librarian. I had tons of Fletchers as well, so I used them to get tons and tons of emeralds by trading sticks. Finally, on day 36, I finished up with all of the villagers and completed enchanting my gear up in the anvil. Now that I was officially geared up, it was time to head into the nether and look for a fortress and get some blaze rods so we can finally go kill the dragon. I say finally, but it's only day 38 when I find the fortress. I run inside, look for a blaze spawner, and here's another thing that I find very odd. It seems timer throws off the spawner because I sat there for a few minutes with timer on and nothing spawned. But as soon as I turned off timer, it started working again perfectly fine. I wonder if it has something to do with how the player is perceived in the area. Anyways, after sitting by the spawner and letting Killora do all the work, I took the blaze rods and headed back to the base. I didn't find much point searching the rest of the fortress as there wasn't anything in there I'd really need. I didn't want potions and anything else in there wasn't too important. On day 40, I returned to my house where I have to start working on getting some ender pearls. I added a new hole in the trading system where I installed a cleric and traded him up to the highest level. I got the ender pearl trade and by day 42 I had 12, which would be plenty for going to the stronghold. I grabbed everything I needed, which included enchanting of a bow because I didn't have one yet, and hopped in my favorite locomotive, the boat. After coasting on my magical boat for a few thousand blocks, the ender eye finally sank into the ground instead of going further, so I quickly dug down into the stronghold. I first found the library, which had a power 3 book and a piercing book, so it wasn't too exciting, but I was able to take plenty of books for enchanting down the line if I have to. I found the portal pretty easily with the use of my Superman vision. I hopped through the portal after putting the Eyes of Ender in and jumped off the obsidian pad. I took down the end crystals by pillaring up to the top of the obsidian towers, and then bowing down the others before shooting the dragon. With timer, the dragon seemed to move much slower, and my arrows also seemed to move faster, so it was pretty easy to hit it. I was doing so much damage that it only managed to swoop down once. For some reason, the kill aura, once it swapped down, didn't lock onto it. Like, it did lock onto it, where it showed the health, and it also showed me swinging my axe and crit particles, but that dragon wasn't actually taking any damage. I'm a little surprised, and don't really know why it wasn't taking damage, but it was super easy to just start clicking it myself. After it flew off, I took the final shots and killed it. Easiest dragon fight of my life. I took all of the experience, grabbed the dragon egg, and hopped through the portal, spawning back at my base. It was immediately time to go mine for netherite. This should go insanely quickly with X-ray, so I figured we could get it done by day 50. I dug down in the nether and dropped into the deep ground rock of the nether floor where I strip mined and x-rayed for ancient debris. One of the nicest things about x-ray for this is the fact that I know exactly where lava is, which means I am at much less risk of going straight into the lava. After just a little while, I was able to collect all of the netherite that I needed, so I returned back to home base where I could smelt up all of the ancient debris to craft up netherite ingots and combine them with my armor. Now that I had extremely strong armor, it's time to undertake a very grindy task. I need to get 27 wither skeleton skulls in order to make 9 withers. The ultimate undertaking for one man. I'm very confident in my ability to cheat, so let's see how it goes. I again returned to the nether, however this time I headed back to the fortress where I'd spend the next 12 days. I genuinely don't know why I decided to hunt them with my axe and not use the excessive amount of levels I had just collected to get a looting 3 sword, but here we are now, and it's not like I'm going back because I'm stubborn, even though it would have saved me a considerable amount of time. Anyways, after many long days of running around in circles trying trying to kill wither skeletons, I finally had 27 skulls and could return home with glory. Although the real battle was just ahead. I grabbed a stack of soul sand, made some golden apples before heading into a desert over some mountains to get away from my base. This is where I would undertake the fight. Place down the soul sand and all of the skulls before going back and placing the final skull on each one so that they would all spawn at the same time. This is going to be very interesting. As soon as all of them spawned in, I realized this was a mistake. They all hit me at once and immediately dropped me to half health. Fortunately, I was able to regenerate up, but I definitely underestimated. My strategy was to just run in circles and let my kill aura do the work. The only problem is that they'd regenerate before they'd get low enough to be in range of melee anyway. I had to get them split up somehow, so I took advantage of them going after other friendly mobs, along with turning on bow aimbot. This should help. The bow aimbot actually made it more difficult, as it would lock onto things in the background. But if I got them right above me, it would work pretty well. Only downside of this is that if I'm below all of them at once, I'm just asking to die. I got one alone in a cave and was able to bring it down, and slowly continued with that same tactic. It was a long fight. After a while, I was finally able to take down the last one. Once I got them alone in the open, I could just run circles and let kill aura do the work. I went around and collected all 9 nether stars before returning home, where it was time to make a ton of beacons. I didn't have any obsidian, so I went back down into the caves to look for some really quickly before coming back up and making them. Now, what was I gonna do with 9 beacons? I mean, I can't just make 9 level 1 beacons. Obviously, I'm going to make a massive 9 beacon base. This is completely overkill, as there's only 5 or 6 effects you can get from the beacons in the first place. But this isn't about being practical, this is about flexing. Now, the easiest thing I could do was just sit there and mine iron. I stayed at high Y levels in order to encounter only iron and coal to repair my pickaxe. I also enchanted a pickaxe really quickly with fortune, which burned up a ton of my levels because I kept getting silk touch over and over again. I ended up mining for just over 20 days. Yes, that's right, I mined iron for about 7 hours straight. Well, not straight. I took a bunch of breaks and I didn't even record half of it because I knew that I wasn't going to use it in the video, but oh my god, am I tired of seeing the iron ore texture. Anyways, on day 87, I returned home for the last time and started smelting up the rest of the iron I had collected before crafting all of it into iron blocks. I went outside my house and started making the massive iron base that it would require. The easiest way was to just build a normal beacon base and then add onto the sides to make sure the dimensions were correct. Also, I wish I had calculated how much iron I would need, because I ended up collecting about a stack of iron blocks more than I needed, although probably it was only about 10 or 15 minutes wasted. I went through and selected effects for each of the beacons and then stepped back to see my masterpiece. After completing the 9 beacon base, it was time to go to the end city and collect an elytra. This is going to be the best source of movement that I can have in this world, as there are hacks that allow you to control the speed of the elytra flight and also allows you to take off without even a firework. So I headed back to the end, where I hopped through the end gateway and spent plenty of time bridging. You know, one might ask, Kerp, why don't you use Boatfly to look for an end city? And to that I reply, shut up. I don't know. So I bridged and finally found an end city, which fortunately had a ship, so I pillared up quickly and hopped around the shulker shop, grabbed the stuff in the chests and the elytra before flying away and heading back to the main island and going through the portal. I returned to the house on day 95, where I sat and looked at my base. That's all I had for projects. I know it's not a full 100 days, but I honestly didn't have any more ideas that would fit in only 5 days. So to be honest, I'm just gonna wrap it up here. But make sure to hit the like button, because remember, if we hit 1K likes, I will upload 200 days, and I promise you, you're gonna want to see 200 days. And that's it. Thanks for watching.